Hi, everyone. Just letting some folks in here. Just stand by. Welcome, Brandon. Welcome, Max. Becca.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Becca, how did the rest of the Eco Builder call go? Eco Credit Builder.
Oh, it was great. We had two different breakout rooms, and one was getting like more into 2.0 and like running some scenarios, and then the other was just more broad. Actually, some folks that are in the BioFi community of practice popped over,
Oh,
uh,
cool.
and so they're like just talking about some like pretty like specific economic models, and just trying to get more of an intro around like region registry, all that. It was great.
Lovely. Awesome. Yeah, it was a nice turnout. It's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll give it another minute or so. And we are recording, and we do get people who review the recording. So even if we have a smaller turnout, that is important. A minute. Okay.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Will. Will, are you heading to the sticks today?
Yeah. Basically, as soon as I get off this call, I'll be on my way.
Great. Awesome. Have a great trip. It sounds fun.
When you get into New York.
I fly in on Sunday.
Okay.
I fly out of here at some ungodly hour, and then I'm landing the afternoon. West Coast to East Coast, a little painful.
Hmm.
Okay, well, why don't we get going? People will be filtering in. Great. Welcome to the monthly community call. It is September 19th, 2024. Today is a great day to talk about Regen, as are most days. So thank you for joining. Howard, good to see you. Thanks for joining us over from the Eco Credit Builder call. All Regen all day. That's what I'd like to see. Okay. Let's dig in here. Oops, excuse pardon me. All right, so today's agenda, we got a bunch of events, governance updates, some report backs from the registry and foundation and product as well. So we got a fair amount to cover. And as always, just a reminder, if you have stuff that you'd like to share as a community member about what you're lit up about, working on, or contributing to in the network, we would love to hear about it. So feel free to insert yourself into the conversation anywhere that you deem relevant. So thank you again for joining us. Welcome, Gregory.
Everyone.
Awesome. So here are some of our events coming up. So we had our Builder Lab this morning. Some of you are on that, but another great Eco Credit Builder Lab's really turned into quite a nice movement of humans curious and leaning into what it means to develop and deploy ecological credits on Regen Network. Our next one is October 17th. So that'll be just before we head to Colombia, at least a subset of us. The next news hour, I did want to just check in on this, and Gregory, you're here too. We're going to be, a good squad of us are going to be in New York City. So I do have some questions about hosting it or not. So if people feel strongly about us putting it on or not, please holler. I know I'm going to be running around a little crazy with the events that we've got going on that day. We've got two. So I am likely to be unavailable. So just flagging for the community if you want to continue on or somebody else wants to host, I am all ears.
I think I also have a meeting that emerged between those two events
Okay, got it.
when Regenerati News Hour is. So
Yeah.
probably, yeah, unless someone's really excited from the community or from the foundation, we should just postpone it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So let's plan on postponing unless we hear otherwise. Our monthly, let's make sure nobody's in the waiting room. Okay, I think we're okay. Our monthly community call, October 24th, our next one is, and we're going to actually be a good squad of us are going to be at COP. right smack dab on that particular day. But I think we'll have enough folks here in town so we can play that one by ear a little bit. But just flagging over the course basically of the next 45 days, we're going to have Regeneratis scattered around the world and making the hosting of these a little more challenging. And then just as a reminder, we also have Max here. Thank you for joining us, Max. The Tokenomics Working Group, plugging away every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, doing some great work. So we'll get into that a little later. So network governance updates. For those of you, and these should be on Hilo as well. But there's a post both from the C-Trees team and the ERA Brazil team about the introduction of new credit types to bring to Regen Network. There's a pretty good discussion. I haven't seen Hilo's discussion if there's much going on there yet, but at least on Common, there's some healthy dialogue going back and forth from our project developer friends, Regen team members, and other folks in the community. So I would encourage you to dip in to both of those. I think we're going to actually unpack those a little bit more later, if I understand correctly. Becca's giving me the head nod. So I won't spend too much time here, but other than just to flag, like this is an opportunity, again, community governed ecological ledger, please weigh in. It will, eventually these will show up on chain for community votes. And if you're a token holder, you have the ability to weigh in on the future of what the community is bringing on chain for credit types, and we'd love to hear your voice as early as possible. So feel free to dive into into that dialogue, and we'll unpack those a little bit more in this call. So stand by. Okay. Oh, sorry. Oh, I just linked out. Sorry. Bear with me for a sec. Can you see my network governance update screen still?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay. Events recap. So moving into this next week, again, this is some of this we covered last week, so I'll try to keep this short. But if any of you are headed into New York City, we have published a really nice guide for where to find Regen Network development, Regen Foundation, and community members over the course of the week. Many of us are starting to land as early as today on the East Coast, for those who don't already live there, and then the rest are coming in somewhere between today and Sunday, with events kicking off pretty strongly on Monday. In our first panel, I believe, featuring some of our team members, is on Tuesday at the Sustainability Summit. And then we've got really panels and events that we're hosting or co-hosting the rest of the week. So feel free if you do want to tune in. By the way, the Sustainability Summit actually will be streamed live. And I'll go ahead and post that on Regen Twitter for those who want to follow along. Should be pretty interesting. It's a good mix of, like, the UN types and the Regen Network types who are on the ground deploying the software, and the folks who are literally on the ground doing the work. We'll have a healthy mix of all of those folks to be sharing out on the live stream for those not in New York City. And then right now, I'm already turned my attention toward Kali. And so I'm going to be racing to put together programming for a day-long event on October 28th. We'll also have an event, it sounds like, in the Blue Zone, which is really exciting, with our friends Tarasos and the Inter-American Development Bank, with the details to be announced. And as you can imagine, there are a number of different events. But I think we're going to be coming in quite strong with the launch of the data stream, the launch of the Registry 2.0 framework. We're going to have a registry website to be sharing, a new registry website to be sharing, as well as a really beautiful suite of biodiversity credits that are already up on chain that will be live for purchase, and really landing the intersection of blockchain, climate, the global south, biodiversity, and all in really a clean package that I think we've been building toward for quite some time. So stay tuned for that. We're really bullish and excited, both for Climate Week and COP events. Regen Foundation. Will, do you want to drop in here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a lot moving behind the scenes that I will have more to share about later in the fall, but uh, one uh, one thing that's really great is that Shyla has been able to serve on Kenya's carbon regulation working group, and they're meeting next week with the African group of negotiators for COP29. So that should be really great. And then on tomorrow, I'll be in Greenwich, Connecticut at this place called Foundation House, which is along with Samantha Power hosting this BioFi event for the Northeast. So there should be about 20 of us over there, and it should be the start of kind of a series of gatherings focused on getting some BFFs launched in the Northeast. And you could go to the next slide. So I know that we just talked a little bit about Climate Week, but just to add a few more things, as Dave was saying, you can also find these on that Notion page. But there's a gathering on BioFi at Ethic on Monday afternoon, Tuesday with Earth Law Center and New York Law School. There's this Rivers as a Catalyst for Change. I think basically a ton of Regen people are at the BioFi thing. Austin and I will be on the Wednesday thing. I will be on the Tuesday thing as well. Earth Law Center is doing this colloquium on Wednesday. Then Thursday we have this gathering hosted by Norton Rose Fulbright on biodiversity credits, global south and technology. We got this mixer hosted by Regen Foundation and Tony Lai, and so shaping up to be a very full week. All right.
Great. Thank you, Will. Sales and business development. This is my area. So I think, as I had hinted previously, we can now announce that we closed with the support of EcoToken, one of our partners in the Web3 bridging space, $160,000 deal with Solana Foundation to not only offset their carbon footprint for a year, according to them. Based on their claims, they purchased a certain amount of carbon credits from us, and we're super grateful. They really purchased some of the more premium credits that we have around city forest credits, investing in U.S. urban forest regeneration, restoration, and protection, and also took a leadership role in purchasing biodiversity credits, specifically the Terrazos credits. They purchased close to $25,000 worth of USD worth of credits, which is about 1,000 Terrazos credits. And reminder, the TBUs, as they're affectionately known, Terrazos biodiversity units protect 10 square meters for 30 years of Colombian rainforests, and specifically focused around El Globo, which is a place in Habitat Bank in Colombia. So there's been some nice coverage of this in Carbon Pulse. I just grabbed some of the headlines. And also OpusNet, Dow Jones Company, has been following us and starting to dig into more of the work that we're doing. And they published a report around this as well. If anyone's curious to see that, I'm happy to share. And then just more broadly, in addition to the Solana Foundation purchase, we've officially sold out of the biocultural jaguar credit. So congrats to everyone on the team for that accomplishment. And these were the pre-finance credits to help underwrite the development of the protocol within the Shadamensa community around incorporating their life plan and ancestral forest stewardship of about 10,000 hectares in the Amazon headwaters. Also, the Era Brazil team sold its first $30,000 worth of Era Brazil biodiversity credits. Those ones are focused on umbrella species, in this case, the jaguar. They actually held a beautiful event in their community where they brought together some of the world's best photographers of jaguars. And people purchased the photos, and those sales immediately went into purchasing the credits, which supports on-the-ground protection, restoration, and regeneration of jaguar species, jaguar habitat. And then, as I mentioned, that also has credits with Solana Foundation. So moving into Climate Week, moving into COP, again, $130,000 worth of sales is may not be earth-shattering, but for a nascent market that people are questioning demand, I think Regen Network is already establishing some leadership in the space, and people are paying attention. So now we still have plenty of road ahead of us to really help scale this market. But I think we've got some good foundational purchases and proof of concept that should give everyone some excitement and confidence moving forward. So that's it on the sales and business development side of things, or at least reported sales. Obviously, there's a number of things in the works always, but this is our report for September. Any questions? Great. Dow Jones being like the Dow, like DOW. So the big multinational financial company. Actually, I don't know how big they are, but I'm sure they're big. Okay, so moving into climate, our Regen registry updates. Becca, is this your slide?
Yeah, me and Giselle. So I'll start. I know that we touched on a lot of other Climate Week happenings. I wanted to highlight that, you know, wearing kind of the Regen registry hat, that we will be at the Biofi Revolution event. And at really like all the ones that Dave had mentioned. There was one that was unrelated to all of this that I'm personally excited about, which is the scaling climate solutions through landscape and bioregional regeneration by a group called 1,000 Landscapes. So I think that's really like pointing to our goals, especially around Regen Registry, of like coming into the space, engaging with other groups, other projects, other organizations, really like sharing about the work that we're doing, sharing about the Regen data stream, about Registry 2.0, like making those connections and getting our name out there so that folks can really start to connect what they're trying to achieve on the ground with our, you know, our tools and services. So that's very much on our mind at Climate Week to show up to the events that we're expected at and more. The idea too of like bringing these new concepts and ideas to different partners, to different events, is to also get feedback, to ask questions, to have open ears, and, you know, listen just as much as we're sharing. So I'm pretty excited to just kind of like drop in with lots of different people and hear how these things are resonating with them. And I think that's how we can just continue to iterate and kind of shape what we're doing with that, you know, information. And then, you know, we've got a lot that's circling around the biocultural credits. So we'll definitely be sitting with a lot of those partners there. But we also have folks like Veridity that are working, doing some like incredible like green infrastructure, like water related credits. So we'll be spending some time with them. They're going to be launching some projects in this next year. So other folks, if you're going to be there, if you have an idea, if you have a, you know, a project in mind, happy to spend time with you. And then we wanted to
carry something. I'm on a call, but can I carry something?
Greg, do you mind to mute if you don't mind? Thanks so much. Thank you. Yeah, we wanted to give some more context around these new credit types that Dave was mentioning, because there is a lot of rich discussion happening, particularly around the ERA Brazil methodology metric. And it's just really like an indication to me that everything's really alive right now, and that people are sensing that the tide is rising. So I thought Giselle could give a little bit of a touch on the two different credit types that we have up right now on Commonwealth.
Sure. The first thing I want to mention is what a credit type is. So for everyone in the call, this is kind of one of the last phases towards the selling credits. We need to have a very good definition of what a credit type is, which is it's like a minimalistic representation of what the credit is for, what's the unit like, and it includes the name and the description. So defining that is not trivial, because the way it's defined, it has direct implications on how the unit the calculation of the credits, how the equations work, and there needs to be full alignment between what the equations calculate at the end of the protocols and what the units are and how we call them. And also there are some bigger conversations taking place in parallel within these specific proposals that are linked to the granularity that we want to have for differentiating or grouping these different types of credits that the different crediting schemas are going to be using, right? So the two ones that right now are in Commonwealth in the discussions are the C-trees that we already mentioned. The citrus crediting protocol is designed to help communities to scale the restoration of degraded marine seashore ecosystems. And it's a practice-based protocol. And nonetheless, it's funny, sometimes this happens with C-trees and with ERA and with many others. At the final stage, all the experts on each protocol, the ones who own it and who write it, that have very, very big knowledge on how the units work and how the equations work. The final stage where you have to define the name, it's always controversial. And so what we are trying to do is to give a big support from the Regen team, but opening the discussion for others to also comment there and help so that the name of the units is really representing the uniqueness of the different credits. So for instance, I think that Terrazos did a very good job. As David mentioned, they are representing the TEBUS as the 10 square meters of 30 years of restoration or conservation in different projects. And for instance, there's a uniqueness, there's a very big difference between that and the ERA project, which is also in Commonwealth right now to discover the unit and the crate type and the description of this. And ERA is more focused on umbrella species. So they have this uniqueness and we are trying to find a name that really represents that uniqueness. They are also willing to tie it to the hectare or maybe some aerial unit. So that's also something that we need to make sure that aligns very well with the equation. So that's where we are going back and forth between the protocol and the description and the unit, the crate type to see if there's full alignment. So all of those discussions are in Commonwealth right now. We will be sharing right now the two of them, so you can jump in. For anyone that is creating a protocol who is developing their own crate and are interested in knowing also a little bit of how this all ties to the market. And we're also having these discussions about how to group them in the future, probably when we have to make sales, how the buyers are going to be interacting with these different titles and perceiving the differences very easy.
So thanks, Giselle. I feel like I don't want to underestimate just how great it is that we have two different really marvelous credit types that are, up for proposal right now. I feel like it's just an indication of how much things are moving and how much people are building. The appetite's big. And speaking of that, we have another, on top of riding this wave with the Regen data stream and just a lot of great momentum, we're also going to be doing a soft launch of the registry website, which has been in the works for quite some time. A lot of thought and care going into creating a really clear and supportive experience for anyone who wants to originate credits or really just use our platform process and framework. So look forward to that. We're looking towards next week for that soft launch.
Oh, sorry. Anything else, Becca, from your side on ERA? Did we drop into that one at all? I think, or did I miss it?
Oh, I thought, did I miss that? Giselle, did you cover the Jaguar?
Maybe you did. Maybe I missed
Just
it.
briefly, but I can go a little bit over. So
Just so can maybe you just like touch on, like, I know we have like essentially like three credits that touch on, or maybe two at least, that touch on the bicultural jaguar credit, pre-finance credit, and the ERA credit. It just like maybe just speak to the umbrella species aspect again, and just maybe build that out a tad.
yeah, sure. So the way the ERA Brazil biodiversity protocol works is that they have different components in the equations that are related to the habitat quality, the species habitat, and the theory of change. So this last one, which is the theory of change, includes all the aspects that relate to how the creating schema is built, and is also something that is very kind of innovative, and something that came up as a last minute modification, very well thought from the team, that I think it was a very good upgrade, because now it allows for instance, an indigenous community to create a very bottom-up approach for their creating schema, and follow and track according to their own specific desires and indicators that they want to be tracking, that might be more biocultural or might be more related to some specific aspects of biodiversity that are unique in the way they perceive them. So this component is very crucial. Then the other two components that are more related to the species and to the habitat are ways to track the management activities and the species population maintenance or improvement over time. So what we are trying to do is to make sure that all the components are embedded in the equations, that the units are calculated. And this last part, I don't know if I was clear, but defining the credit type is more in the way we communicate what a credit represents. So if a credit represents, for instance, 1 hectare of restored habitat for the species, the jaguar species in a certain area, and it also has a component of the intensity of the management or the performance of the practices that have been improved, implemented in the project. That needs to be shown in the equations and in the unit description and in the unit name. So that's all the kind of coherence that we want to build between the protocol and the name of the credits and the description, the brief description. And yeah, I don't know if you want me to expand a little bit more.
That's great. Thank you for that's perfect.
I'd love to chime in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay off video, but I'd love to chime in a little bit and just share a couple of thoughts. So I think it's really interesting to be thinking about how do we make good decisions. Like I was just thinking, if I'm the average staker and I'm being asked to make it, like to form an opinion about things at this level of what are the key things to be understanding. And first and foremost, it strikes me that what these units represent is kind of a definition of fungibility. Currently we have carbon removals and avoided emissions, for instance. And so one of the things we're saying is that as a unit could be considered by a buyer as a type of things that are roughly fungible with one another in some way. They're going to adhere. And obviously the challenging part here is that the credit type doesn't have information about the scientific, the quality of the claims or data or standards or checks and balances that are underpinning that asset. It's just the definition of it. So just like taking a step back, it's like this is a barrel of oil or a bushel of corn in terms of the closest analogy and how markets work. And then there's grades layered on that and who's buying it, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just one, just like taking a step back and trying to frame it in my own words. The second thing is I think this is one of the most rich conversations. And I think about, you know, is it a unit of time and space that we're shooting for? Is it just the result of a specific quantification algorithm? And it's almost like a rating or something like that that's going to happen. Anyway, it's a very interesting conversation. I'm really excited about all of these credits that are coming on chain. And I'm most excited and I apologize, I have yet to be able to make time to comment on things, but I'm really excited personally about just like the unprecedented process of having a community come together and just discuss and build some preliminary consensus around this kind of unit description, right? And what that is. And just, above all, I think it's a really rad experiment. Side note, I think that it really helps also at this stage, like C-Trees or ERA, whoever it is that's doing this amazing work, to get rigorous, like to have people ask hard questions now, and to seek clarification now is a huge service for how marketable these will be, because it's going to make things much more understandable. And right, to the degree to which we, who are a little bit more core to this, look at things and are a little confused, probably this is an opportunity to push towards more simplicity and more clarity and offload any complexity or complication at the unit type back downstream into the credit class and other places that have a little bit more sophisticated framework for taking care of that complication. And at this place, the market, we should be sort of focused on simplicity, I think. So that's just one, when I'm thinking of it as a Regen staker, Regen holder who has the interests of these projects and the network as a whole in my mind as I'm reviewing this, I'm going to kind of be asking what is going to make these units the most credible, easy to understand, and likely to result in people funding awesome project work around the world. And I'm going to ask those questions of myself, and then I'm going to read the conversations, and I'm going to try to answer from that perspective and just give that insight and advice and thinking, and really invite everybody else to be doing the same as individuals or parts of organizations. So yeah, and thanks for all the hard work for everybody on this call that's been supporting those teams, and for the teams that are doing it. It's really kind of it's exciting.
Yeah, thank you, Gregory. It's great reflection. Any other reflections or comments on Gregory, which Gregory shared or otherwise?
I had one, and it actually kind of touches on what Paul, what you said in chat is like the governance process around adding credit types. I agree, and like giving it some more time. It's also like at that point in time when they're ready to spin up a new credit class, I wouldn't necessarily say like urgency, but there's a bit of like let's get things moving. So I think that is a worthy conversation to have. The other thing on my mind is that historically we've felt like there's a bit of a disconnect perhaps between the validator community as a whole and kind of this like work on the ground that's then coming up to the surface in Commonwealth through these new credit types. And I'm feeling excited by having this level of activity that I think really, I would hope, I don't know, would kind of invite the validators that have been more on the margins into kind of more of what's happening, or even like attract validators that are more involved or invested in like this kind of work. It's kind of a discussion that I would like to see have around like continuing to pull in an informed validator set, even after we've just kind of lessened the number.
I would lean. This is a really awesome conversation. We're going to be chatting about this a little bit this weekend, but this sort of like, do you ask the people running the technical infrastructure to have sophisticated opinions about markets and science, or do we do checks and balances kind of and create a different type of governance amongst a different body of actors who have those private keys and who are exercising that type of governance, while the infrastructure providers focus on security, durability, transparency, and the checks and balances of the digital ledger? It's just a really great question. So I think definitely keep that in mind, and people having strong instincts, opinions, or ideas about that and sharing that back is really, I think, going to be key in the types of conversations that we're going to start getting into. This is also emerging in the token economics working group. How do we kind of, and I think ideally we'll have some options or even drafts of this, because I think the idea is to kind of get a constitution that outlines this, that says here are the rules for these types of decisions, these are the governance bodies and initial entities. For these other types of decisions, these are the types. So sort of separating, and my instinct is to kind of go with the tried and true, sort of create separate and distinct types of responsibilities and be super clear about what it means to be taking that responsibility. But I think it's a really important conversation, because everything right now is sort of in the unicameral token holder process. So we're going to start differentiating that and going through some sort of kind of like mitosis, I think, where there's different cells with clear organelles that form into organs or organelles or whatever, and that's going to be happening probably really fast here.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Super rich conversation kicking off here, and I'm sure we'll be moving forward and probably worth having a defined discussion around this as a community, specifically agendized for that, maybe a post COP, I'm guessing. Wonderful. Okay, so moving on, and I know Max is here, and I know Max is not on a friendly time zone, and I want to make sure he is next. Oh, thank goodness he is. Max, thank you for being patient and for your ongoing stewardship of the Regen Tokenomics Working Group. Are you there? And yeah, getting out of bed, can I get you to give an update?
Yeah, thank you so much. I can quickly run through the things on our end. So, yeah, just to reiterate, there would be meetings around the climate week. So some conversation will gonna happen there. Brand Commons and Duna Constitution. There is the working group on the MetaGolf Slack. And on the side of our venture studio, we had a discussion during the Crypto Commons gathering in Austria with a group of different researchers and practitioners. So it wasn't the drivers and blockers of Web3 business models. And also lately we got like new people on the calls, like Sam Lee and like many other great experts, and we shift more into the environmental market conversations. So maybe there is some match. As always, you can check our meeting notes and sign up on the regentokenomics.org, and all information is there. I'm not sure if Gregory maybe would like to add something on top.
Gregory, anything from your perspective, or I don't know if Will's still here. Will, from yours on tokenomics, anything to flag?
I don't think I have anything else to add at the moment. Yeah, I think we will be getting to some things this weekend.
Great. Awesome. Well, Max, thank you for staying up and your continued stewardship. Very grateful for your support. Awesome. Let's see. I think we're nearing a wrap. Oh, product update. This is a big one. Becca, do you want to take us away here?
Yeah. Big news, big launch. So for a while now, you've been able to go into the Regen app and create a project page. Permissionless project page access. You can go in and add your own content, add your own narratives, media, without even, registering with anything or producing credits. And now we have released this extra layer, this extra functionality on the project page, which is the Regen data stream. And this is a feature that is a really significant milestone when we think about like Regen's vision of a interoperable, transparent, collaborative platform for environmental crediting and non-crediting applications too. And so what you're able to do is go on and create data posts. And so you'll see on the screenshot here, this is an example of like 3 different data posts on a data stream. Each of these posts are anchored on chain, and they can be anything from blog style updates to sharing footage. They could be submitting project documentation and anywhere in between. And what it really allows you to do by making these uploads and describing them is you can post data in real time. That data, that post itself is anchored on chain, and you also have the ability to digitally sign as well. And that just enables this like really transparent verification where you just literally look and see who signed it and when. And then you also have the ability to create different data privacy and permission layers. So all the way from public to private and in between, it gives you the ability to show what you want to show, all while creating this like chronological project process flow that shows like the, you know, the life and credibility of your project. And all of this is available now. Anyone can do it. I'm working on it for my own project in my neighborhood. And here there are links that we can drop for a deeper dive in a blog, and we also have a guide and a YouTube video as well, just to kind of like walk you through it in real time. But definitely get in there, and you can just play around with it and see what it does. But it really is this big step towards really like realizing our vision and bringing everybody in a more self-service, autonomous way.
Very exciting. Anyone here on the call tried Data Post yet, or the data stream product? And it's okay if you haven't, but if you have, I want to hear.
Yeah, this is Howard. By I mean we have posted as of yesterday. We've gone live with the biochar credits from our pilot project, and we have plans to go with the opportunities that arise with the new system.
Love it. Right on.
I'm posting it now in chat if anybody wants to see their project page and data stream that Howard just mentioned. Super awesome. Looks so great.
Love it. Awesome. All right. Oopsie. Sorry, I'm already opening up something I shouldn't. My bad. Okay, I think that is the end. So we're done here, folks. A little ahead of schedule. We got 15 minutes left if there's any questions or comments. But otherwise, we are about to scatter to the wind, literally and figuratively, as we head toward Climate Week and COP. Very exciting movements here, and just expressing my gratitude to all of you who are showing up on this call and in the Eco Credit Builder Lab. It's the root of something quite special. So thank you for everyone's participation. With that said, any other questions or comments? Otherwise, I'm going to close us out, and we can move on to the rest of our day.
I have a quick comment. I had heard from the C-Trees team that they were unable to log into the forum and like specifically create accounts and stuff. I just tried making a new account with my other email address and am unable to. So
you are able or unable?
Unable. So I think there's some kind of big issues with the forum.
So this is you're sending common or in high-low?
Common, yeah.
Okay. I'm on a Telegram channel with them, so I'd love it if someone from the R&D team can try to recreate that issue, and if that is a problem, I'll ping a Telegram in the meantime. Thank you for flagging that, Paul.
Yep.
Yes, I can do that, Howard, no problem. Great. All right, team. Well, I think that's it. Thank you, everyone. Be safe. Have a great fall wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Everybody.
And spring, don't forget about the south.
Yeah, sorry. My bad. Have a great spring, Giselle. All right. Bye, everyone.